is it about Adelaide Oval and the Western Bulldogs?
Yeah, well, it's hard. You can look at all the outcomes statistically and try and work out why the game unfolded like it did. But ultimately, they just scored too easily. We had 37 forward-half turnovers, and you're talking about that heat map. We couldn't score enough from them, and so all the stats probably lie. I think there was a dominance at the stoppage. They got first use, and then to allow them 17-9 from 43 entries, and 6 of those are centre bounce goals, and 4 of them are kick-in goals. So areas we've been really strong at, and so when you ask yourself the question, why did that happen? Obviously, the search for answers, it's reasonably clear. Adelaide might have played the best game out of any team this weekend. We don't know. Because we thought their pressure was red hot. We had no time and space. In the end, we had 7 rush behinds of ours. That makes our scoreline look even worse as far as the ratio of goals to behinds, and that's a credit to them because of their pressure, and we couldn't make up goals close to our goals, which we've been reasonably good at. So that might have been the case, that they've outperformed and they won nearly every position on the ground. But as I just said to our players, that's what we've got to be prepared for, because in the previous encounters against the opposition in the lead up to this game, we have been prepared for that. We've been playing against teams who are higher than us on the ladder. We know we need to win to give ourselves a sniff. And this afternoon and into tonight, the Crows just had an edge, a physical edge in the game that we'd perhaps had coming in. So I don't think it's necessarily Adelaide Oval. It's just it's not. It's purely just that we haven't played anywhere near our better footy in Adelaide this year. We come away with 3 losses.
So when you've got so much going forward, you're picking the wrong spots, or you're making the wrong decisions as to which option to take in the forward half?
Well, it's probably a mix of both, but we had enough. They took some intercept marks, but we had enough contests, ball brought to ground, enough opportunities to make things up at ground level, and we couldn't convert. Our small forwards and midfielders couldn't make up score assist opportunities. We couldn't convert from those live plays, and ultimately, I don't think there's any great fluency. We didn't come at them. The times we came at them with some volition on turnover, or even from a kick-in or 2 of ours, we missed guys out the back, or they had a sliding winger, in hinge, come across and take an intercept mark, and so I thought they were quite exceptional, the Crows, but on the flip side, we just weren't at our best.
So how do you pull that apart and then make something of it, particularly for the next 2 or maybe next 7 games? Yeah,
well, it all just comes back to what I said earlier. We've got to expect that whether it's North Melbourne this week, well, it is, that they're going to come with an intent, and they just may come with the capability and capacity this week to play their best football, and we've got to be ready for it. And we weren't ready for Adelaide's best football this afternoon, which is a blight on us when there's a fair bit at stake. And their tests up here, we, as a collective, there's a blend of youth and experience in our team, a really healthy blend, but everyone is searching for their stability and how they approach these games to do their best individually, but commit and contribute to the team to win. So we've got to help them because we didn't get it right today.
So Sam Darcy, like one person that reflects the whole day, where great numbers individually, but then what he puts on the scoreboard isn't?
Yeah, so the encouraging part, as you're alluding to, was Sam, big threat, some great contested marks. It is hard to get any momentum and eat away at a lead when you're not taking your chances, and that was part of it. But I think the 7 rush behinds for us, sort of make out that, you know, we had as many scoring opportunities and we didn't have as many meaningful ones as Adelaide did, because, you know, they were able to rush those or they were touched near the line, and we were just inefficient. So I'd rather look at Sam's really good stuff, the encouraging parts, and over the journey he's been a pretty good set shot for goal. That'll come. So we'll just be optimistic and bank on it improving this week.
Is that just doing the work with Sam? As you've known, he did so much right, but just the rewarding himself for his work.
Oh, sometimes it's got to be a balance of what you do there with set shots, because you can get in a groove and you don't need to practice that much. You know, it's a lot of it's the positive self-talk. You know, it's definitely between the ears as much as your method, and Sam's usually been pretty good. So he'll obviously find a groove at training this week, and then look to establish that, you know, the following week. Hopefully we can give him some opportunities in front of goal. But yeah, it's not necessarily overkill, you know, doing too much now. It's just get the balance right.
What's the challenge of coaching to then get them in the right headspace?
Always is, absolutely. You know, and you know, I put a huge price on the inspirational, the motivational hooks in this game. Where do you find them? One of my great coaches and someone who I think had a real influence on me was John Northey, who coached me at Melbourne. Now, John was a great motivator. Now, I always felt that he used to get an extra percent, extra 10%, extra 5%, whatever it may be. Out of the group, I thought John coached teams that I was involved in that were capable, not necessarily the best, but he squeezed a lot out of those teams. I put a huge price and value on that side of what we do as coaches. So, yeah, it's absolutely on a big challenge. So I've got to think about my own backyard and making sure that I continue to explore what I can get right to help them, you know, through this period.
What have you got selection-wise that you can use as a lever there as well? What do you think you have there?
Yeah, without going into too much detail, the boys had a pretty good win down at Frankston. I thought it was a pretty tight, contested game. So, yeah, some players who played pretty well. It's unusual for us, you know, to come into the third week in a row and have no change at all in our team. Sometimes that's part of it, you know. Does it need a refreshment? Maybe this is a week for it. We'll work through that. But yeah, I think enough of the boys played well to throw their names up for selection. But I don't know. We've got a bit to process.
What was the thinking with the Northern sub?
Yeah, just a bit ginger. He's had a bit of a sore knee. Wasn't necessarily covering the ground as well as he normally does, and so we needed to find, you know, a little bit more run, and CD Caleb can produce that. So with North's not physically being where he usually is, we made that call and obviously put Buku forward, who was having a pretty tough night on Fogarty up the other end. So that was what that was about.
How did you see the right battle play out?
Yeah, too much the other way. Yeah, hit out to advantage, and that was unstable. So it's a huge responsibility in there, isn't it? You know, and stuff. You know, Tim's had a really good sort of last month and a half, and credit to their ruck. You know, this afternoon he was pretty good. Yeah, I think it was influential in quite a number of things in the game. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.